I'm excited to present you our new tool, Nightwatch SEO Agent. Nightwatch SEO Agent can help you to execute your SEO tasks much faster and easier. We're going to take a look at some of the examples how it can help you. For the sake of demonstration, we're going to be running the agent on our website, nightwatch.io, and we're going to use it to execute a couple of different tasks ranging from technical audits, research, and much more. The agent is available with the Nightwatch plans. If you go in the top navigation, you're going to see the link SEO Agent, where you can just navigate to agent.nightwatch.io. So let's start. In the first example, we're going to take a look at the technical audit example, where we're just going to ask the agent to crawl a website and print all H1 tags. In this example, we can see after prompting the agent starts collecting the data, and we can see the 5 different tabs which are shown at the top. Now that the data is collecting and the agent is crawling a website, we're going to see some use cases of this data and how agent can actually interpret and reason about our data it finds on the website. So in this case, we see it finished the crawl, and here we see a list of all the pages and H1 tags across them. This makes it much easier to understand the SEO data with comparison to the old approach, where we would have to go to the tool and then find the data that we need. Here we can just prompt the agent a simple question, or we can analyze or go through the data manually by clicking and investigating it on the right side. Let's look at a keyword research example. Here we're gonna instruct an agent to make a keyword research for a phrase SERP API and compare trends in 2 different markets. One thing you're going to notice here is that in this example, we are actually instructing the agent to execute a research on 2 different markets. And this is something unique that an agent can do, which we could not do before with traditional research. And if we take a look on SERP API subpage, we're going to see some unique things we want the agent to discover. So we're instructing it to give us the trends data. Let's take a look how this prompt is executed. So once we trigger the agent to execute this prompt, it should go and find the data that it needs for the research from all our databases and data sets. It should interpret this data, and it should give us a comparison for different markets that we are instructing here, and also show us the trends. Traditionally, we would need to spend much more time on a research like this, where we are comparing multiple markets. But here we see that the agent prepared us a report where we can easily see comparison with US monthly searches against Canada monthly searches. And each phrase is compared within the table with the summary and recommendations that we can find out. This makes it much easier to interpret and to understand what exactly the data means. So now that this data is loaded in the session, we can also investigate and go deeper into the individual raw data. And this makes it very practical, so we can now execute some more complex operations on this particular session. So let's take a look what else we can do with this, and we're gonna take this one step further, and we're gonna take a look at keyword clustering for this data. Now that we have the research data included in our session, we can just tell the agent to cluster all these keywords that we discovered. And we should see what the agent is going to come up with. As you know, clustering is very important in SEO to understand the groups of keywords, to understand how much potential they have in common, and to structure our strategy for page creation, content, and so on. So here we see the agent actually understood the data and came up with the clustering ideas for these keywords. But we could actually take this further and we could ask it to give us this in some kind of more friendly view, let's say in a table, and propose a URL structure for creating pages for targeting all of those keywords. Now the agent should actually understand this and it should prepare exactly what we asked for each of those keywords that we put in clusters, which should make it much easier to structure our website or come up with briefs for our content writers or for the agent. Here we can see the actual table that we requested with all the keywords and pages that it proposes, and including the headlines that we could use on those pages for targeting those specific keywords. This makes it much easier to come up with exact suggestions and come to the data that is important for implementing these optimizations much faster and easier. The next example we're going to take a look at is internal linking. Here we're going to combine our crawling abilities with content interpretation, and for example we're going to take a look at a blog that we have on our website. So one common use case is when we have to find internal linking pages for different articles or for a new article. So we can just instruct the agent to find the best pages for internal linking to a new article that we are writing. In this case, we can say an article about AI SEO. As we ignite and trigger this prompt to be executed in the agent should actually execute a crawler on our website. It should go through all the pages that it finds the most relevant to this new article, and it should propose us which pages we should link with it. Now this can be very practical because instead of the old approach where we have to use one tool for crawling, then we have to decide on the links, we can take this much further and we could actually instruct the agent to give us specific amount of links, or even give it exact instructions of how these links should be. Should they be generic links or should they be like anchor text targeting links? And now that the agent is finishing work, we can see what are the results and pages that it's recommending. And we can see that AI tracking, landing page, SEO database, these are all relevant articles and pages that we could mention. So now it's going to prepare a document with all these recommendations. We can either accept or reject, or we can fine-tune. And now that we have this document, we can easily share this list of links we can include in our new article with our content writers, or we could just draft content out of them. As you can see, this is super useful. The last example we're going to take a look at is content creation. And here we're going to take a look at something we already did, so we can just continue the session from the previous example where we did the crawling and we came up with internal links. And we can instruct the agent to come up with an article about AI SEO and include all these links or particular keywords from the research before into this article. And as we see now, agent is preparing the content, and now we can also instruct it to create a document out of this, so we can easily import it in Google Docs for further fine-tuning or importing to another tool that we use for this purpose. This is a very useful way to create and draft content. One unique advantage over other approaches with ChatGPT and other AI tools is that agent has direct access to our SEO databases, from keywords to ranking SERPs and so on. And additionally, the model is fine-tuned for the best SEO practices. And here we see the outline that we could either finish to a certain form, or we could continue it writing with the help of a copywriter, depending on your strategy that you want to implement in your website. So these were some really simple basic examples what you can do with SEO Agent, as this is a new version with reasoning abilities that you can use and simplify a lot of your work and bring it into your workflow. We hope that you gonna be able to use it and implement effectively in your SEO workflow, and we're excited to introduce more improvements and enhancements in the agent to share them with you very soon.